Reflections of the Mirror. The studio of Sensei Kenji was a universe of paper and ink. Stacks of manuscripts rose like skyscrapers, and the air hummed with the scratch of pen nibs. In a forgotten corner, draped in cobwebs and dust, stood a tall, ornate mirror, its surface clouded with age. Reina, Sensei Kenji's youngest assistant, moved through the chaos with a quiet grace. While she inked backgrounds for his famous samurai epic, her own story, a tale of a girl who could talk to stars, was secretly unfolding in a sketchbook hidden in her bag. One late night, during a cleaning spree, Reina pulled the dusty cloth from the mirror. The glass was surprisingly clear beneath the grime, its silver frame etched with cryptic symbols. She felt a strange chill as she stared into its depths. Her own reflection stared back, but behind her, the studio was different. In the glass, Sensei Kenji stood on a stage, holding a golden trophy, tears of joy in his eyes. The vision was as clear as a finished manga panel. A week passed. The memory of the vision faded like a pencil sketch until the news broke. Sensei Kenji had won the grand prize, an award he'd coveted his entire life. The acceptance photo was identical to what Reina had seen. Fear and curiosity warred within her. That night, with trembling hands, she stood before the mirror again. She clutched her personal sketchbook to her chest, thinking not of Sensei, but of her own unfinished story. The reflection shifted. It showed a single, stark manga panel. The art style was her own, but the content was a nightmare. It was her, lying on the studio floor, surrounded by scattered pages. A pool of black ink spread from her chest, not like a spill, but like life itself draining away. Beneath the horrifying image, in her own delicate handwriting, were two simple, brutal words: the end. It was the final page of her story. It was the final panel of her life. A primal scream caught in her throat. This couldn't be the end. It was her story. She was the writer. She would change it. She would erase this ending and draw a new one, a happy one. She worked through the night, her pencil flying across the paper. She drew her heroine not falling, but rising, soaring into a sparkling cosmos, hand in hand with a celestial prince. She gave her a future. Exhausted but hopeful, she faced the mirror once more, holding up the new, happy ending. But the reflection was unchanged. The final, tragic panel remained. And worse, the pool of ink staining her chest in the image was now larger, darker, more defined. A new wave of panic crashed over her. If drawing couldn't change it, perhaps destroying it could. With a guttural cry, she ripped the final page from her sketchbook, tearing the tragic panel to shreds. She looked up, panting, into the mirror. The image was still there, immune to her destruction. But now the background was sharper. The specific stack of books she'd knocked over in her frenzy was now visible in the panel. Her actions weren't changing her fate. They were filling in the details. A deep, unnatural cold began to seep into her bones. Every breath felt heavy, as if she were breathing in liquid ink. The lines of her own life were being finalized, the details filled in, the shading added. She had one last, desperate idea. She wouldn't erase or redraw. She would correct. Taking a fine brush and a bottle of white ink, she tried to paint over the black stain in the original drawing, to cover the wound with light. But as the white-tipped brush touched the paper, her elbow nudged a large bottle of black ink at the edge of her desk. It tipped, falling to the floor and shattering, sending a wave of black liquid spreading across the wooden planks. The fight drained out of her. There was no more panic, no more fear. She looked at the spilled ink, a perfect, dark reflection of the panel. She looked at her own hands, stained with the same black. A profound, quiet calm settled in her heart. She finally understood. Every story needs an ending to be complete. Every line, every panel, serves the whole. Her life wasn't a sprawling epic, destined for many volumes. It was a single, perfect panel. With a grace she hadn't felt in days, she rose to her feet and walked to the mirror. She looked at her reflection, at the girl in the final panel. She was no longer a victim of the story. She was its author, embracing the ending she had written. A genuine, peaceful smile touched her lips. She looked her fate in the eye and spoke to the reflection, her voice a soft but unbreakable whisper. "If my life is only one panel," she said, "I want to make it beautiful."